prepared both in mind. I understand now. Such a form will increase my skills and my use to you. My life for you. I am prepared for whatever you... I understand now. My life for... I will... It is not something I speak. I am not familiar, but there... I will answer what I... My master, it is not...
Yes, General. Don't worry, I'm equipped. Thank you, General. That might prove useful in the future. Yes, General. If you think... It'll take practice, but I think... Yes, General. Sorry, something...
Yes. Have you come? Very well. I confess it's... Atris herself is not as familiar. I misspoke before. Ignorance. And perhaps they do not remember or care. It is of no consequence. Am I? Then perhaps you should know. There are techniques in the Force where one can cloud the memory of others, make their presence so small as to be unknown. And on the worlds where we have encountered these Jedi, there is much life and death, where sensing such, as I said, it is of no consequence to me. No, but if I did, you would never know. So my words only carry as much worth as you believe them to. But perhaps you will understand this, that perhaps it is important to me that you see me and my actions It is important that your judgments, whether be good or bad, stem from seeing me. I did not ask you to trust me, only that you listen to what I have to tell you. But thank you. Ask. He, if he can truly be called a man any longer, is one of the dark lords that pursues you. I do not think he knows what you are. He spared the Miraluka, and that may have been the last shred of feeling that exists. Keep his slave close to you. I suspect there was a reason he spared her, and perhaps a reason that she survived when the rest of her people and the Jedi... Entertain what illusions you will. I am too tired. One cannot have power of that magnitude that her master possesses and still think and perceive the universe as we do. As most. I had hoped that you would not have to confront him, but her presence here has changed all that. You will have to meet him in battle. You must be prepared to sacrifice the blinded one. Perhaps her death will buy you the time you need to deal with her mother. Then you have a chance. Without her death, I do not know if he can be stopped. It is a technique that is almost as old as the Sith themselves. It is a means of severing connections between life, the Force. It cannot be taught. It can only be gained through instinct, through experiencing its effect. Yes, and he fed upon its destruction. It will sustain. Power? Do you think so? You would be wrong. There is no strength in the hunger he possesses. and the will behind his power is a primal thing, and it devours him as he devours others. His mere presence kills all around him, slowly feeding him. He is already dead. It is simply a question of how many he kills before. Nothing is impossible with the Force. It is an energy that flows through all, and like energy, it may be harnessed, channeled, and consumed at times. It may even be a substance that can burn and do not think of his power as one would a weapon, or one of your warships of the Republic. It is terrible, but it is still a subtle thing. The sect of assassins that chase you feed on the Force. What he does is simply the pinnacle of what they could achieve. And that is why they and their techniques must be wiped out. No one again must experience and learn what her must. As much as one may use the Force to bolster the wills and strengths of others, the reverse is possible, though not often. Instead of sending one's will through connections in the Force, instead such connections are drawn upon, fed upon, and driven. Then you understand how terrible such a power is, and why it must be ended. It is an empty road to the dark side, and by traveling it, the price is death before one. He is a breach in the Force, capable of consuming the lives of those around him. Sometimes it is not something he can direct or focus, much like hunger itself. He is more of a hole in the Force than a living thing. Force sensitives and worlds rich in the Force draw him. The Miraluka world was one such. That is why where the Jedi gather, Jedi will die. He will feel it, unless they mask their presence. But KOTOR called out as a beacon to him, and he could not return. And he cares nothing for the Sith or its teaching. And when the Jedi are dead, he will feed on the galaxy, the Republic, and eventually consume the Sith. There is no future in the empty galaxy he sees, and that is why he must be stopped. The breach must be sealed before his power grows beyond what even we can hope to stop. One cannot have power of that magnitude that her master possesses and still think and I had hoped that you would not have to confront him. You must... Perhaps he is bound to her, as I am bound to you. If so, there may be a death served by hers. You must be prepared to sacrifice the blinded one. It can... Because it is not something that can ever truly be controlled, and it leaves nothing to conquer in its... And it rules him, not the other way around. It has its own will, its own instincts. You would... And... Nothing is impossible with the... And like, do not think of his power. This... And... In... It is... It is not something he can direct or focus, much like hunger itself. Force sensitives, that is why we're... And he cares, and when there is no... Ask. Does it matter? Of course it does. Perhaps I am neither, and I... What do you wish to hear? That I... That... What? Learn from me. If it means so much to you, then this I... There shall be no more shadows between... Ask. Atris herself is not as familiar. Because Atris's part, she has taken the first. I was a one that you have already asked. And did he? I fear you are right, but there... Yes. That is something we will leave and... Very well. When I spoke of sight before, there is a similar handicap that tends to occur among those strong in the Force. They neglect this. The greatest wielders of the Force are those that maintain some grounding to the more... Some wielders of the Force have mastered piloting, others the ability to fix and repair and build, from simple moisture vaporators to more complex machines. Such one's ability to understand the human body and its ailments, for example, can make your powers within the Force more complete, more powerful, when you attempt to repair the cellular damage of another. And others have mastered the more subtle work of politics, persuasion. Do not doubt that a galaxy may be conquered with words, a republic overthrown, and an when such skills are honed, one's abilities with the Force become that. My warning to you is this. Do not rely on your companions to compensate for your weaknesses in skill. There will be times they will not be there to help you when needed. What skill would you say is your greatest strength? What skill would you say is your greatest weakness? Then my task before you is this. Take your greatest weakness, devote effort to it, strengthen it, and I will show you how it shall strengthen your power in the Force. As you learn and train and test yourself against the galaxy, all your skills have a chance to improve and grow as well. When you devote some of that training to your weakest skill, you will know. Ask. Yes. Very well. Very well. You have brushed the surface thoughts of another. It is a start. Calm yourself. This time, silence your own thoughts. Keep them still. Imagine the waters of the room of 1,000 fountains, each stream suddenly falling silent and still. Imagine the ice of Telos, cold and smooth as it gathers upon the plateau. Now, stretch out. Feel the ship around you. Strip away the metal and see the souls and minds of those that fill its corridors with more thoughts and dreams and worries than can fill the space of this.
As my feet walk from the ashes of KOTOR, I shall not fear.
This place is so quiet. Nothing like Nar Shaddaa. I don't even know why I'm here. Wonder how much the bounty on the Jedi is now. Don't understand how that Jedi keeps in shape like she does. She's barely changed from the holorecords. She just seems to be naturally beautiful.
Switch the face of the +1 -1 card. The totals are 9-10. Switch the face of the +2 -2 card. The total is 8-11. Switch.
Your command echoes still, General, and I obey, as I did at Malachor.
As my feet walk from the ashes of KOTOR,
Switch the face of the +1
I shall
-1
not
card.
fear.
The totals are 9-10.
For in fear,
Switch the face of the +2
Your
I
command
stand
echoes still,
The
General,
total is
and I
8-11.
obey,
Switch.
as I did at Malachor.
Not now. Focus on my voice.
Malachor.
Now do you hear me? Truly hear me. You have taken the first steps on a much longer road, exile. The droids cannot be read in such a way. As for the alien who served with you in the war, its thoughts are more difficult, requiring many translations in meaning. Often it is better to read their impulses and images than their spoken thoughts. That is why he is deaf to you. I have found his impulses are cold, like a dead weight. Indeed, it is strange that I did not. Perhaps not put much weight on such things. Of course there was. It is because Atten was not playing Berserk, yet he counts cards in his head. At times he will list off engine sequencers, memorize the hyperspace routes on the other side of the galaxy, count the ticking in the power couplings, even though they are. At other times, he will imagine certain base lusts, certain indignities. It may be Atten is far cleverer than he feigns to be, or perhaps he is simply a fool. Yes. Very. I had wondered if... But your... Now is not the time to speak of this. Wait until you have more of the galaxy within you, and we shall speak again. Every step on our journey shall bring with it discoveries, with persistence, and for every planet we reach, all that we touch with our presence, you shall grow. Yes. Ask. Perhaps I think it is fair to say that few did. Revan had a mother and father, parents, ancestors, like all Jedi do, And when she awakened to her potential, I was there but where she was born, where she came from, I do not know, any more than I know where she... Some said that Revan was born in the outer regions, beyond the Rim, and that's what called to her during the Mandalorian Wars. It was the call of home. I know more, but it may not be enough for the answers you seek. Revan, it was... Fall. Ah, you were there at Malachor. Revan's choices were always her own. It was not teaching or circumstance. Is that what she was? Or was she always true to herself, no matter what personality she... And there is something that the Council may never understand, that perhaps Revan never fell. The difference between a fall and a sacrifice is sometimes difficult, but I feel that Revan understood that difference more than anyone knew. The galaxy would have fallen if Revan had not gone to war. Perhaps she became the Dark Lord out of necessity to prevent a greater evil. I do not believe the Jedi Council changed Revan as they claimed. They merely stripped away the surface and allowed the true self to emerge again, someone who was willing to wage war to save. But that is my belief, since I knew Revan from long ago, as a master knows. She came to me, yes, both before and after. Before Revan knew herself, and after, in the times when Revan was coming into her own and learning she was more than she had been told. At one time, Revan was my Padawan. In times, but Revan, when she had learned all she could, had other masters, that fool Jar and other Jedi on other planets. She learned from each, but in the end, she turned back to me, when she realized there was nothing more to be learned from the Jedi, except how one could leave them forever. Revan was power. It was like staring into the heart of the Force. Even then you could see the Jedi she would slay etched on her. You are... When I look at you, it is like staring at the death of the... I know more. You... Is that what she... And there... The gap... That is... I know. Ask. Ignorant. Am I? And on, as I said, yes. Very well. Now. Keep. Ask. You have already asked. She came to me but I asked. He's keep his slave. Yes.
Something wrong? Grenade? Well, I don't like to use them unless they're C5 concussion spheres or the Merson cryoban pellets. Sonic screamers aren't too bad either, just... makes their head explode like a melon. And don't do it to a Celestin either. Makes their ears bleed and they gibber twice. Alright, keep your robes on. Go ahead, Ned. It's all this traveling. Being trapped in the ship. I'd rather be doing something, somewhere with people. Yeah, it's been a while since I've been off planet. Guess I got you. Well, Nar Shaddaa may be one of the biggest cesspits in the galaxy, but it's got a life to it. Activity. Aliens, people, refugees. It's like noise, but relaxing. Like the hum. Yeah, well, I wouldn't go that far. No thanks. You can keep your Jedi training to yourself. I already know Nar Shaddaa better than you ever will. Shoot. I'd rather be doing something. Look, before we get into a game of Guess the Pazak card, pull back on the throttle. I don't know you that well to start sharing our life. Talk. Sure, they're easy. That's why I dress like this. When they're looking down to check you out, you can usually smash them on the base of the skull or deliver an uppercut that knocks them flat. It's simple. When you want a man, you jab him with a Bothan stunner, then while he's screaming in pain, slap some stun cuffs. Then starve him for 2 or 3 days until he becomes open to suggestion, then double check his bounty and see if he's worth it. Call it what you want. Me? Yeah, something wrong? Not right now, you've got enough. I don't want you to go off like a thermal detonator if you trip around me. Alright. Look. Go ahead. Anhar's only a bounty hunter because that's the closest word for what he does. He's not out for credits. It's more vicious than that. It's like he's out to make the whole galaxy suffer. Every living thing in it. He wants to break them, ruin them. And when they can't suffer... I didn't kill him once. Biggest mistake. That's a long story. I don't want to get into it. Shoot. I've killed people before. Oh, do I? Is that it? How you could ever possibly hope to understand? Jedi don't have family. I know what happened at Malachor 5, and I know the Jedi didn't care about life there. Get away from me. The next time you come and ask me a question, I swear I'll shoot you in the head and dump you out the airlock. What do you want now? Whatever, don't worry about it. It's just... Yeah, well, they're dead. That's how that story ends. But not everybody's story has to end with losing their family or their loved ones. And not all the bounty hunting I do is for criminals or killers. There's a lot of lost people out there, scattered ever since the Mandalorian Wars. And sometimes it's like you can almost hear them, like an echo, calling out for each other. And maybe, just maybe by finding them, I can start putting the galaxy back together. Maybe. Well, I don't even know why I'm telling you this. Alright. Made it. It's custom for me, which is a good thing, because I wouldn't want anyone using it against me. I can show you how to make rockets, though, if you'd like. All it requires is a good skill with... Anything else you wanted to know? Go ahead. Talk. Why, you trying to be my mother? No thanks. Already had one. Somewhere. No thanks. I didn't need friends on Nar Shaddaa, and I don't need them now. Yeah, something wrong. Shoot. Yeah, more or less. I wasn't born there, I just ended up there. Well, the war happened. The first one, against the Mandalorians. I had family right up until the end. It's not really a new story, you hear it all over again. It's what happens after the wars are over that you don't... I think so. After Revan crushed the Mandalorians, planets throughout the Republic were flooded with refugees. I was just one of the me. I got passage to Nar Shaddaa. From there, not much you can do, so... Take a guess, Jedi. Only 2 groups of people would have lost family at Malachor. And Jedi don't have families. As much as any slave becomes a Mandalorian. They took prisoners on every world they conquered to bolster their ranks. And they took a lot of worlds. When I was young, yeah. They mostly used me to carry ammo packs and munitions. Toward the end of the war, they needed everyone they could get. They taught me to fight, to hunt, to survive. I was part of their squad, even when I was young. Everyone served as part of the unit, and after Malachor, it really didn't matter anymore. The Mandalorians lost. Bad. Yeah, I know. I saw that kind of stays with you, I haven't forgotten it. What happened at Malachor, Should I be? Maybe I should ask you if you're happy about all the Jedi who died on Mount... Maybe it felt like you lost family there, but I doubt it. Yeah, I know. That kind of... Alright. So... Yeah. Well, Nar Shaddaa may be one of the biggest cesspits. It's got a... Yeah. No thanks. Go ahead. Yeah. I've killed people before. I know. It's different. I don't know. I haven't killed anyone for a long time. But when I'm around you, suddenly it's like I've always been doing it. It's like I don't like it. And I don't know when or why. Shoot. I didn't kill him once. Do you really want to hear this? Well, Hanhar and me go way back, in the worst possible way. He's from some forest planet on the Outer Rim where Zerka had set up one of their slave... Well, not for long. Once off planet, Hanhar escaped from the Zerka slavers. I don't know. I always thought he just liked using them as weapons. Well, before you get too proud of him, Hanhar figured Zerka had the right idea. I don't think he understood the concept of slavery before, at least on the scale that Zerka practiced it. But now he did. You ever hear of Dursan 3? Or the ID... Right, that's because Hanhar happened. He makes what happened to his homeworld look like an exercise in community building. He's not a bounty hunter. He's a slaver. It's like he's out to enslave or kill every human in the galaxy, like he's trying to settle some huge score or debt. Anyone who paid credits. And sometimes, The ones who survived, he sold to the exchange, to the huts, to anyone who'd buy bodies. He and Voga used to do big credit transactions. That hut really liked the look of unwrinkled humans for some reason. Didn't make him too popular with the other huts, let me tell you. I was prey. And not only did I escape, but I saved his life while doing it. He's been hunting me ever since. I don't pretend to understand it, but among his people, they have these codes of honor, but somewhere along the line, Hanhar's got twisted. His people form these things called life debts. If you save the life of one of them, they pledge themselves to you. Well, with Hanhar, he can't escape that life debt. It's bred into him. But he hates every other living thing in the galaxy, so pledging himself to someone else, especially a human, was unbearable. So when I saved his life, it was the worst thing I could do. It was like slavery all over again. But it was in his head. It was like it pushed him over the edge. A life debt to Hanhar is a death sentence. He'll hunt you until you're dead. When I saved his life, it meant he had to kill me, and so he kept chasing me in hopes I would die. I think the fact I showed him mercy after hating humans for so long, that was something he couldn't... Probably. But if he had multiple life debts, especially to humans, Hanhar would probably go mad. He was angry before, sure, but he'd be... Hanhar's tough. Really tough. And when he loses, I've seen him shrug off blaster bolts, balls, and stunners, and even survive a freighter crash on Dursan 3. He keeps coming. Tell me about it. Like I said, I get the impression a life debt's supposed to be a gift, but to Hanhar, it's more like a curse. Oh, I'm glad he's gone. It's like a weight off my shoulders. I don't have to keep watching my back every minute, wondering when he's gonna show up. And he always did. It's like he always... Trust me, if he was still alive, he'd be chasing us even now, waiting to ambush us when we least expect it. And he always shows up at the worst possible time. He was one of the best bounty hunters on Nar Shaddaa. Hanhar never gives up on his prey. Well, as happens on Nar Shaddaa, I made someone mad. Mad enough for them to send Hanhar. Turns out they were even able to get him cheap. He'd heard about me and wanted to hunt me down, for sport. He didn't think I'd be much of a... Well, he tried to box me down in vents beneath the Nar Shaddaa docks, and he'd set one too many proximity mines to cover the escape routes. I think he'd hoped to drive me into the mines and then let them do the work. Or that I'd be too scared to try and walk. Thing is, I knew Hanhar's supplier, and the trigger signatures for the mines. It was pretty easy to broadcast a signal to blind their sensor receptors for a minute. I figured that would buy me enough time to move through them. Like I said, I disarmed the trigger fuses for enough of the mines to get by, temporarily. And Hanhar was pretty fast on my trail. I just made it to safety when he hit the first one. The blast leveled the entire ventilation section, and Hanhar was caught right in the middle, and he survived. Barely. He was crawling around, blinded from the flash and the plasma burns. And it happened so fast. All the blood had been scabbed and crusted from the flash. I had the drop on him, and even blind, he knew it. He could still hear me. My ears were ringing from the blast, but I could hear him. I think he was begging me to let him live. His voice, it wasn't a roar, more like an echo of it. I suppose I should have killed him, but I couldn't do it. He was in pain, he was helpless. So I dragged him out of there enough to get him to safety, and he kept hunting me ever since. He said he'd pursue me to the edge of the galaxy. No matter where I ran, he would find me and break me, that I would always be prey. Maybe. I've thought about that moment. A lot. Wondered if I would do things differently if I had... Alright. I've killed people before. I don't know. I don't... Go ahead. I'm good at finding people. Not if you know your target. Usually you get a hollow or rough description, and then You just sort of listen to it, get a feel for him or her. And this is a little hard to explain, but Nar Shaddah's got a flow, a life to it. You see all kinds of... You know your target, you can feel them. You know where they're going to go. And sometimes, I'm good at finding people. Because when they're lost or out of place, it's like something's wrong inside them. Shoot. I'd rather be doing something. Yeah, it's been a while. Well, Nar's got a... Yeah. No thanks. I don't... Not unless I have to. And bounty hunters. Shoot. I did... I don't remember the name. Something with too many K's and Y's. Sounds like you're gargling Ronto spit when you say it. No idea. He's just on her. I hope there aren't any more like him. I get the impression he's not a good representative of his people, though. He's the equivalent of a mad calf hound. Some of Voga the Hett's men said Hanhar killed his own tribe, but those two crud thugs lie every time they open their mouths, so who knows? Well, not... I don't think he understood the... You ever hear of Durs? Right, he's not a... It's like... I was prey. I don't pretend to understand it, but his... What? So when... And so... Hanhar's... See... And he always... Oh, I'm glad he's... And he... I don't really want to get into it any more than I have. Maybe some other time. Talk. Sure, that's what... It's simple. Then... Why, you trying to... No thanks. Yeah, something wrong?
HK-47 activated. Running checks through primary systems. Assessment. It appears I have suffered considerable damage and dismemberment. I can feel all the crack, and my central control cluster seems to have taken several repeated blaster shots at close range. Answer. I do not know, Master. It is curious that I was here. Extrapolation. Perhaps I was already in the process of rebuilding me. It may be I was... Answer. It seems you would know more than a reflection. Of course, for some reason that does not alarm me. I suspect I have suffered such repeated... Still, the loss of my higher combat and assassination protocols is shameful and degrading. Answer, if by okay, you mean the loss of almost all my existing assassination protocols. Furthermore, I seem to have no discretionary control over my vocabulator, causing me to reveal my true function as an assassin droid of unrivaled... Answer, oh, that is impossible, Master. If I were out to kill you, and regardless, I am a unique model. Why, to think that there would be other versions of me would be... Statement. Master, I must inform you that your attempts at humor are wasted on a droid such as I. As I have expressed... Resignation. Very well, Master. If you persist in your attempts at humor, I shall indulge you. Let me check the conclusion. You speak the truth. This discovery is also causing me some degree of anger and humiliation. Mockery. Am I all right? Oh, yes, Master. Statement. I mean, I've only just been reactivated, only to find that there are substandard duplicates of me running all over the galaxy, corroding my good. But if they are, in fact, hunting you, then I look forward to the opportunity to meet these units and educate them in proper assassination protocols. Conclusion. So it seems I need you. Recitation. Yes, as I said, I am an assassin droid. It is my primary function to burn holes through meat bags that you wish removed from the galaxy. Oh, how I... Answer. No, Master. I said it again. Answer, yes, Master. Answer, yes, Master. HK-47. Query, is there someone that you need... Statement. You wish to conduct an Statement. Oh, yes, Master. Pain is really the only reliable by which truth may be obtained. Or... Statement. Very well, Master. But if you wish to be brutal and vicious about it, know that I am trained for such things. Do your worst. Statement. Master, I am no behavior droid, but it is obvious to me that you have serious ethical problems that will need to be treated at some point. Very well. Ask your questions. If you feel the need to make it an interrogation, however, do not restrain yourself. I would be... Statement. Yes, them. Very well. Answer. Master, I do not know. I have tried in vain to find it, but so far the location of the factory churning out these copies... Statement. Statement. Oh no, Master, surely you are mistaken. I would never malfunction. Prompt. Do you understand me? I have no idea. It certainly isn't a matter of it being locked in my memory core and being Answer. I fear that any such information that exists would only come out when a certain sequence of events takes place. That is why I am eager to encounter more of these clones in the hopes that something clicks that allows me to... Statement. Statement. Mass 1. The probability of them showing up around you is statistically high. If I travel with you, then my chances of encountering these clones... The second reason is a little more complicated. You see, even though those clones are obviously cheap, artless imitations of me, well, they are still me. Answer. Somehow these droids are built from my schematics. This... Answer. Because of my self-preservation program, my behavior core recognizes these templates as still being me, despite their... I could no more shoot them than I could shoot myself. It is a frustrating situation that has been looping through my behavior core for some... Statement. Answer. Well, Master, it seems you have become a popular individual in the galaxy. This is somewhat surprising to me, since this dissemination of information could not have been caused by your actions of... Statement. Master, there is mention of you specifically in the core word databases, even in public terminals on observation. I was led to believe that this information concerning Jedi was not for public consumption, yet somehow it has been made known to the... Conclusion. Someone wants everyone to know that you exist, Master, and that you are back in Republic. If I did not know better, which is computationally impossible, I believe that someone wants to make you a target. Answer. Master, my feeling would be the exchange. But that doesn't seem to be enough to answer the rhetorical. Why wouldn't they have simply kept the information to themselves? Such an answer does not address... And that is why someone would choose to broadcast your location all over the known galaxy. Theory. My suspicion is that someone is using you as bait for a larger target, who is unknown at this time. Statement. Answer. Master, as part of my original programming, this usually amounted to short verbal warnings when killing non-basic speaking targets, which gave me some small measure of satisfaction. Answer. Yes. I believe my original master needed this functionality in order to recover information from various indigenous tribes across the galaxy. Suffice to say that that translation capability allowed these copies of myself to assume the role of protocol and translation. That is, of course, not their primary function. And while they are attempting to pass themselves off as translation droids, their primary functionality keeps rising to the forefront. Recitation. For example, on Praven Prime, the simple transferring of Elzing syntax for friendship changes its meaning and implies that one's mate was actually impregnated by their own host.
Tell me no one said that out loud, did they?
Confirmation. Oh, truly, you can imagine the results. Statement. This comment, of course, caused a civil war between the Guvandi Collective and Elzing that still persists. Answer: yes, Master. Such incidents often spread outwards from their point of origin. Answer: in the case of Praven Prime, the Civil War actually forced the Republic to back out of Guvanti's space and let their world fall from Republic control. As I understand it, that would be best. Keeping such a world would have been a token gesture. As an added burden, the resources needed to invest in diplomatic and trade relations would have far outweighed what would have been required. Besides, Master, quite frankly, the Guvandi and Elzing needed a good war. They were races that relied more on words than actions, and a good brisk killing woke them from their torpids. Also, the result of the war will be that the drastically reduced Elzing population will eventually need to call upon the Republic for a Answer: the Republic stands to gain. The Republic will be able to supply such emergency relief at a fraction of the cost to the now reduced. Of course, such aid would only come 4 or 5 years after the war was started. One would have to be patient and let death and destruction. Answer: Master, being a meatbag, your answer does not surprise me. You see, part of the reason an assassin droid is so effective is because it is a droid. Meatbags tend not to notice us. Statement: oh, do shut up, you beeping little trash compactor. Anyway, as I was saying, droids tend to blend into the background, like a bench or a card table. Mockery. Droid, fetch this. Droid, translate that. Part of the love of my function comes when the furnishings pull out Tabana-powered rifles and point them at the owner's heads. My identity as an assassin droid was unknown for quite some time, even during the recent events, when I'm sure you've already heard more than enough about it, so Statement: this story may be somewhat unfamiliar to you, if not to history. So, there is a faction of meatbags called the Sith. They want what any rational meatbag would want: the power to assassinate anyone they... In a startling turn of events, the Sith declared war on the Republic. The Republic wasn't going to stand for it. Answer: oh, who knows, Master? It is evident that the Sith would very much like to assassinate all the Jedi, which is somewhat the equivalent of cultural suicide, since some Sith are Jedi or were Jedi. It is much like the circumstance I find myself in now. How do you kill such an integral part of yourself over such ethical difference? The answer, of course, is that you keep firing until all dissension has been Recitation. For example, on Praven Prime, the simple transfer...
Tell me no one...
Confirmation. Oh, truly. Statement. This comment, of course... Statement. Answer. This usual... Answer. Yes. So that is... Recitation. State. Answer. I do not know why these clones chose now to start revealing theory. I can only assume that some critical moment is approaching where stealth and subtlety is no longer required. Not that those Durasteel-plated knockoffs know anything of stealth. Observation. It is clear, however, that they have been placed throughout the galaxy at critical junctures, both in the Republic fleet and in neutral world. Answer. My feelings on the matter are something that I feel I must put in proper context. In a way, theory. Imagine, if you will, that you are unique, the pinnacle of an exiled, cast-out Jedi. Imagine that no one has sunk lower than you, that you are truly the most miserable example of a Jedi ever. Continuation. Now that you have that image, imagine this. They make the clones talk differently, rob you of any shred of personality, and take your Jedi code and adjust it so that it is not. They even change your pigmentation to a rather poor shade of Durasteel, rather than the proper rusty red that inspires fear in targets. And of course, they refer to meat bags as organics. Clarification. Anger would be an understatement for the heat that builds up in my behavior core when these cheap imitations make their presence felt throughout the galaxy. Statement. Part of the indignity of all these copies is that they impair my ability to perform my function. The more people throughout the galaxy recognize me as an illegal assassination device, the more difficulty I will have in carrying out my... Statement. Theory. Well, Master, I believe I was shot repeatedly. Once reduced to my component parts, I suspect pieces of me were sold. Statement. I am an extremely valuable piece of equipment after all, Master. My parts were no doubt costly to obtain, and their new owners hesitant to part. Statement. That is indeed unfortunate, Master. It is merely another thing my attacker will be most distressed if you were to shoot me, attack me, or dismember me in any way. Answer. Master, ironically enough, I seem to have developed a sudden bout of memory loss. I shall struggle to recall an answer to your question, but for now, consolation. Besides, you are a fine master. Do not be worried about being rendered insignificant. Statement. Answer. No, Master, I do not. I am afraid I have been out of touch with the Sith for many years. This new Sith threat fights differently than the ones I was familiar with. These seem to favor stealth and assassination to achieve their ends. Answer. No, Master. The Sith had many hidden bases and strongholds before and during the Jedi Civil War, and I doubt the Republic found them all. Theory. It is possible that the Sith still hold one such base. Consolation. But I would not worry, Master. I imagine it will not be long before their murderous hands try to seize you by the throat. Twi'lek metaphor. Jonta bosi likita masi soringada. Untamiasa grawino roto. Query. Master, excuse me. One thing I have noticed as we travel the galaxy, you seem to possess the ability to understand. Forgive me, but that does not seem in keeping with my assessment. Query. May I? Answer, because it seems to know all the languages I do, and I am feeling degrees of familiarity and inferiority. Observation. Indeed, it seems to be modeled after my vocabulator, with some modifications, of course. Curious. You say you obtained this device on Paragus. Observation. Master, I do believe this device serves multiple functions, including tracking your position for any HK units in the vicinity. Confirmation. Yes, Master, I believe so. Of course, we would need to find 3 separate HK squads and use this device in order to target their base. Answer. Master, the nature of the signal from the sonic imprint sensor is such that we must wait until it is signaled. does not please me any more than it does you. But what are the primary traits of an assassin or assassin droid? His patience. Statement. Ah, more questions. Wonderful. Statement. Master, you wound. It is true that I once possessed many more protocols and upgrades, but time and damage and I am afraid that I have a rather long history of memory problems, which has also compromised my effect. Still, you will find me a valuable asset, Master, willing and able to terminate anything you point me towards. Query, is there someone... Query. Statement. Oh, I am aware of that, Master. I simply use it to give you the illusion of control and obedience. Humans often need such comforts until the end comes. Consolation, Master. Everyone dies eventually, and not all of them by my hand. Even droids die when not routinely maintained, sadly enough. Statement of consolation.
Yes? Is there something you have... The fact we are even having a conversation is gratitude. Usually, my conversations do not have the give and take that our current is. And, of course, there is much more screaming on the part of the listener when the torture field is activated. I am willing to There are several factors, all of which affect each other. There is the stabilization of Dantooine, the preservation of the restoration efforts on Telos, the political resolution on Onderon, and the unification of a religious power base in the galaxy, either Jedi or Sith. The destruction of my yacht and of all my activities on Nar Shaddaa carry a cost that would take you several lifetimes to... But perhaps the offer of credits will spur you to act quicker, more decisively. I am... For every system you stabilize, I... See that you do not... There is the stabilization of Dantooine, the preservation of the restoration efforts on Telos, the political resolution on Onderon, and the unification of a religious power base in the galaxy, either Jedi or Sith. Dantooine is a vital resupply point for the Republic. If its stability is compromised, then the Republic will lose control over many outlying worlds, and they will become a haven. The economic loss from such outer worlds is greater than the Republic is aware of, if the matter is not corrected. Onderon is an outer rim world, rich rich in ecological resources. Its aggressive ecology is capable of bringing devastated work. It is currently experiencing a political schism split between two forces. One must triumph for the planet to be stabilized. Telos is instrumental to the stability of the Republic. Its success or failure will dictate the economic... Of course, since the destruction of the Paragas facility, the odds of the Telos restoration project being successfully completed is close to zero. I hope you do not decide that the next thing that must be destroyed to stop the Sith is the galaxy itself. Perhaps one must ask themselves at what point defending your religious ideals is advantageous to the Republic as a whole. As long as your defense does not exterminate more than 50% of those you intend to help, is that? Then stop causing events of planetary destruction. You are a walking catastrophe, and you are not making saving the Republic any easier. Of course it was. If you had not gone there, the facility would not have been destroyed. If you had simply surrendered to the Sith, then all of that violence would have been I hope you do not decide that the next... Perhaps one must act as... You may speak. Now, that would be telling. For now, my presence must remain a secret, and it may... It has been assigned to guard and protect you. As such, it is well suited for It is skilled in intimidation, interrogation, and can provide a series of select skills that will make it an effective killing machine. For the most part, it will follow your orders, unless they conflict with mine. Then its proton core will detonate, turning this ship into space dust. There is no negotiation in this. I will not allow you to interfere with my operations and plans. This unit comes with a droid scrambler that you may use against mechanized opponents to randomize their defensive and offensive. Use it, and it will cause droids to wage a civil war in their programming, and they will turn. Its power source is not limitless, but in addition, this unit comes equipped with a portable cloaking generator. It will allow it to enter places undetected in reconnaissance mode. How droll. What an amusing... You may... It is for the most... Then it's proton. The assassin droids. I have encountered some. Purchased the service. Why, I asked them to. To be honest, I believe that was always their intention, but it seems their directive. If you mean produced, no, I do not. I do know that there are a surprising number scattered throughout the Republic fleet searching for you. What they will do now that you are found is easy to predict. They are masquerading as protocol droids. I have discovered that when they are used in negotiations, they have a predictable pattern of sabotaging whatever peace treaties they are involved. Because the Republic has no reason to investigate otherwise, and any discovery of their true purpose has been concealed by well-timed accident. Because their behavior is predictable, of course. By monitoring their presence, I know which worlds will suffer civil wars, planetary conflicts, and Republic bombardment. Of course they are. They're droids with very specific protocols that unless changed will dictate. Unless you shut them down at the source, they will be stalking you until... I believe that by whatever means she used to build her armada, she recognized that it was somehow a limited source, or that she was only willing to use it to... My prediction is that whatever production facility was being employed, it carried a price that Revan perceived as detrimental to the goals of the... And that is why Revan left many military production facilities in the Republic. That is what occupies my calculations as well. I believe that Revan saw a war on another front that we did not, or saw the value in keeping a strong military force. That is also a mystery to me. I do not have any evidence upon which to build. It is significant that after the defeat of Malak, the forces decreased considerably, and after Revan's departure from known space, production ceased completely. It is my prediction that whatever was producing such forces needed a strong, effective leader to ensure its stability. Without Revan or Malak, there was no such figure left among. Unlike Revan, Malak demonstrated no concern for the future of the Republic in his stratagems were painfully obvious, intending to crush all resistance everywhere. There was little thought beyond the complete destruction of anything that opposed him. He left quite a mess. I'm still trying to assess all the damage. Between the two, I would have preferred Revan rule the galaxy. She had foresight in her conquest, a subtlety that Malak did not possess. I am... What have you brought me? I am willing to indulge some of your... What about him? I am certain you would know more about him. I warn you, once you deal with the Hutts, they will always have a hold over you. Certain that in your short-sightedness, such event... You may... Yes. No, you have enough. And as I tell all my employees, make do with less. Yes. I am willing to So, they are known qualities. I also use them on board my ship but that in itself means little. I assure you, I am as flesh and blood as you are. I simply find personal meetings distasteful. Perhaps, though if you seek to trick me into an admission of my guilt, then you have thought wrong. Ah, yes, swoop racing on Nar Shaddaa. But that in itself means little. I assure you, I am as flesh and... It is so unfortunate when an intelligent sentient dies on Nar Shaddaa. It is also unfortunate that thousands die such deaths on the Smuggler's Moon every day. Indeed. How insulting. But I suppose Now, is there something else you wish to know, or... But that... What have you brought me? I am willing to indulge some...
Query.
I heard you making friends with the bounty hunter. I don't blame you. She's a scrapper. You don't survive on Nar Shaddaa for... I've known people like her. Maybe without the rocket launchers, but sort of the same. Maybe without the plunging neckline and the... I wouldn't let anything she says bother you. It's a wonder you cracked her attitude at all. She's Alright. No, I don't think we're ready for that Alright.
Something up?
Passes the time. It's better than listing off engine sequencers, memorizing hyperspace routes, or... Why do I play Pazak? Alright, I'll show you. Good match. Now, what are you thinking about right now? Right. And that's why I play Pazak in my head. Because if you don't, you've left the door open, and anyone could walk right in. No, I play Pazak in my head. But while I'm doing that, it's a lot harder for someone to walk in. No, I can only teach you to play Pazak. Do you understand what I'm saying? Good. Now you understand. Alright, I'll deal then. If you're ever fighting someone who has the power over your mind, whether light or dark, play Pazak. Start listing hyperspace routes, recite engine sequencers, and when they try to use their powers on you, suddenly it's not as easy as they thought. Because you'll be right here with me, playing Pazak, where they can't reach you.
Something up?
Alright. No? Alright, but I'm out of credits, so That's where we waste a lot of time trading cards and trying to beat each other. But in the end, nobody wins. Everybody loses, and nobody accomplishes. It's like stalemate, except the goal is to pass time until the audience gets bored.
Something up?
Query, is there some...
Haven't heard anything more.
Did you hear? The Republic's destroyed Goto's yacht. Blew it up, right in orbit. Goto's yacht was fired on by a Republic warship. Has the Republic declared war on the exchange?
Generakta cemente binga. Der into runto wake. Terewana jun konata della raguno tu. Charanana gundoso remina Terewana jun konata.
Did you hear? The Republic's destroyed Goto's yacht.
Back again, I see. Well, honestly, there's not much.
Taranam Sibu and Nasarans, Kramer, Pachabi Doko, Donaranga Manachunga.
Was du dir abgehört? Können test you naronitus. Schönes, really bakun. Dicenni sebelanki drawinch. Dicenni sebelanki drawinch is.